March 24th is World Tuberculosis Day, and it is designed to build public awareness around the disease as well as efforts to combat the disease. Tuberculosis, commonly known as TB, is what we're going to be discussing on today's episode of the show. Hi Saints, my name is Marianne Ushi and this is Catholic Faith Forum. I also have Mariana on standby to tell us about the life of Saint Cherubus, and our Know Your Faith team is on standby as well to tell us 6 passages to read when you find yourself worrying about life. Amaka will be handling that for us. But for now, let's go on a short break, and when we come back, you'll be meeting my guest. Stay tuned. Welcome back, Saints. This is Catholic Faith Forum, and I am Mary Ann Ushi. Our topic for today is tuberculosis, and we're doing that to mark the World Tuberculosis Day, which will be celebrated tomorrow, March 24th. I have with me here a Russian-trained medical doctor who works with Cor Maria Clinic in Ojo. It's actually a clinic owned by the Dominicans, and he's right here to talk to me about tuberculosis. I'm talking about none other than the CEO of COSMED, Dr. Cosmos Ibuamalu. Hi, doctor. How are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing all right today. I'm so excited to be invited to this.
Yeah, excited, but I'm not seeing the excitement. I want to. Hey, now we're talking. High five, high five. Yeah, okay. That's it.
At least to be able to help people understand what tuberculosis is.
Yes.
Before I begin, let me just shed more light on COSMED.
Yes, please. Okay. I was going to ask you that.
I'm the CEO of COSMED. COSMED has 2 platforms. We make supplements, and also we have an online consultation.
Yeah,
the online consultation, we help people who can easily access healthcare, wherever they are. We easily bring it to their doorstep, then we prescribe for them, then they get it from wherever they get it. Then with the response, they come back, give us response, we follow them up. Then the other aspect is the supplement aspect. We'll make different supplements, we'll make it into tea and capsules. Then we've had so many testimonies from people, and it's working well for diabetes, for hypertension, and also to boost the immune system. That is just the few I can mention. There are other things
that you do. That's nice. Well done. Well done.
Thank you very much.
All right. So our conversation today is centered around tuberculosis. Can you tell us in plain terms what tuberculosis is?
Okay. Tuberculosis is one of the oldest diseases. Even it dates back to ancient Egypt. Through the mummies, some of them were when certain things and certain investigations were done, traces of disease were found in the lungs and in the bones. It's one of the most deadliest diseases in the world.
Wow.
And over 90% of people who are infected in low-income or middle-income countries die of it. Okay, but what do we know about this deadly illness? It's caused by a bacterium called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, and mostly gotten when tiny droplets of an infectious person drops into the air. It dries up, then another person can breathe in. When they breathe in, it goes to the lungs, settles down, then multiply. Some goes to other parts of the body to cause infections, but mostly we have the pulmonary tuberculosis that settles in the lungs. Then there it germinates, then cause all kinds of symptoms and all. So this is the basic stepping stone for you to know.
Okay, so basically tuberculosis is something that can be passed from one person to the other.
Very contagious, especially in people with low immunity.
Oh, nice. Okay. Well, so how is it diagnosed? How do you know that somebody has tuberculosis? Because, I mean, I know that most times when we hear tuberculosis, we think of coughing and all of that. So how exactly can you differentiate between a normal cough and, cough that is actually indicative of TB?
Okay. If someone walks into your office and you are the doctor, there are certain things to look at for. Or when someone has complained of a cough that has lasted for more than 2 weeks, and a blood-stained coughs, when the person coughs and expectorates sputum, so we suspect this. And you also ask the person certain questions as night sweats. Does the person sweat at night? Is the person currently losing weight? These are things that we use to suspect. Normal coughs doesn't come fully with blood-stained expectorates.
Okay.
It's not really related with loss of weight and other things.
But tuberculosis is usually blood
Yes.
stains, loss of weight,
Yes.
sweating at night.
Yes, and all. And also, it's worse in people who are diabetic, HIV infected and all, or people who are treating cancer or using certain medications for cancer. But that does not still mean you are going to confirm the person of tuberculosis. You still have to go further to do some investigation.
Okay.
That investigations will be the one to
Now confirm
finalize
that.
the diagnosis, then treatment.
So you run tests.
Yes.
That's blood test or sputum test.
There are different kinds of tests.
Oh,
There's
okay.
the molecular test and there's the sputum test. The molecular test is very fast. You can just take in blood
Okay.
and it comes out quickly and easily. Then when you go for the sputum test, it takes time because it has to be cultured and it has to follow certain procedures. But it's actually the best one.
Now the one always slow pass, the always best.
Yeah.
Okay. So is it curable? Because you said it's the deadliest. Is it curable?
Yes. Tuberculosis is very curable, especially if it is found on time. There are certain medications and certain
I was also going to
protocols.
ask, the whole coughing of blood, is it like at the early stage or it's like when it has graduated that you now start coughing blood?
Yeah, mostly when it has graduated, because
Okay.
it means that there's a part of the lungs they call the lungs parenchymas. These are the bodies of the lungs. When the bacterium, it begins to eat it up. So when it eats up, it's like causing destruction in the lungs. It's those destructions that have been
bring the
coughed
blood.
out. Yes.
Oh,
So
okay.
it's when the person has been infected for a long period of time.
So is
actually.
it curable?
Yes, it is curable, but especially if it's diagnosed on time. Okay, there are different forms of treatment for tuberculosis. Yes, but there are still some people that are diagnosed with drug-resistant tuberculosis. Those make it very difficult to treat, and it's more deadly because
When you get TB, then you can't get the one way good to resist drugs. Why now? But yeah, it's a sad reality. Okay, so what is the standard treatment for TB and how long does the treatment usually last? Hold on, before you answer that, let's go on a break to find out about our saint of the week. Over to you, Mariana.
Our saint of the week is Saint Turribius of Mongropejo. Saint Turribius of Mongropejo was born on the 16th of November 1538 in Mayorga, Spain. As a brilliant scholar and law professor, he was unexpectedly appointed Archbishop of Lima, Peru in 1580, despite him being a layman. After being ordained a priest and bishop, he dedicated himself to his new mission with zeal. What a man. While in Peru, he found colonialism at its worst before Uncle. The Spanish conquerors were guilty of every sort of oppression of the native population. Abuses among the clergy were flagrant, and he devoted his energy and suffering to this area first. Turribius was known for his rigorous pastoral work, traveling extensively across his vast diocese, often on foot, to minister to his flock. Wow, waka waka. He championed the rights of indigenous people, learning their languages and defending them against colonial abuses. Thank God. He also went ahead to establish numerous schools, churches, and hospitals, and convened several important synods to reform church practices in Latin America. Turribius baptized and confirmed many, including the future Rose of Lima, Martin de Porres, and Francis Solano. He began the long and arduous visitation of an immense archdiocese, studying the language, staying 2 and 3 days in each place, often with neither bed nor food. Hey! Turribius confessed every morning to his chaplain and celebrated Mass in intense fervor. What a man. Among those to whom he gave the sacrament of confirmation was the future Saint Rose of Lima and possibly the future Saint Martin de Porres. After 1590, he had the help of another great missionary, Francis Solano, now also a saint. Wow. So if you associate yourself with saints, most definitely might be one. He died on the 23rd of March 1606 in Sana, Peru, while on a pastoral visit. Canonized in 1726, his feast day is celebrated on the 23rd of March. commemorating his tireless dedication to the church and the people of Peru. He is now regarded as the patron saint of native people's rights and Latin American bishop saint. Saint Martin, pray for us.
Thank you very much, Mariana, for that, talking about Saint Tuberculosis of Mogrobeho. I hope I got that right, but if I didn't, oh well. I'll learn it later. Okay, back to our conversation. So what, before the break, I was asking how it can be treated and how long the treatment usually lasts.
Okay. There's a standard treatment. There's intensive stage.
Okay.
And there's the continuation stage. The intensive stage, at that stage, it's about 2 months. Why the continuation stage is about 4 months. So everything rounding it off to about 6 months. The intensive stage, we use a lot of combination of drugs because it has to be intensive to prevent any form of drug resistance and also to effectively get rid of the disease, the bacterium. Then the continuation stage, it's about 4 months. It's done. It's not as intensive as the first month. So that's the major treatment.
But in the intensive stage, is the person usually admitted or the person can be doing the treatment from home?
The person is not usually admitted.
Okay.
He can do it. It depends. Sometimes if, depending on the person's symptoms and the person's current state of health. But in the intensive stage, most times we can admit them. But from the continuation, they can go home to continue.
Yes. Okay. So what are some key strategies for prevention of tuberculosis? Can it be prevented? Because I know that if I don't want to have cough, I can stop drinking cold water and the rest of it. But now I'm talking about something that is caused by a bacterium. How can I prevent myself from having tuberculosis, or how can it be controlled?
And I want to shed light on something said about cold water.
Okay.
Most things that cause cough are not usually cold water.
Hey, I hope you can hear this one. So people just tell me to stop drinking cold water. Thank you. All right.
But the only thing, so most things that cause cough, especially they are mostly things that affect the lungs, chest infections. They are either, it could be pneumonia, it could be tuberculosis, it can be other things. And the only thing you can say is cold weather and other things can decrease the mucociliary pathway to be able to get rid of those bacteriums. So when the weather is so cold, it can lead to that. You understand?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So back to my question of how to prevent tuberculosis.
Prevention, it's very easy and it's very, very is the key factor in the sense that it involves the government, the environmental factor, and also being able to campaign and teach people what to do and what not to do. It's overcrowding is one of the main causes of prevention of tuberculosis. Overcrowding. So people should be less. There should be decongestion, even in prisons and in some other places.
So that you don't transmit.
Yes, so that you don't transmit them. And also, people should live in well-ventilated houses.
Okay.
Yeah, it should be well ventilated. And also, if someone who has someone who is being treated for tuberculosis, they should ensure all forms of hygiene, being careful. There are ways you can sterilize and also prevent staying in the same place for a prolonged period with the person. Okay. And people who are treating cancer and certain other illnesses should also wash themselves, should be careful where they go and other things because their immune system are usually low. And elderly people too, young people less than 5 years are susceptible to tuberculosis.
Okay, so aside from maybe getting it from somebody who has it, is it possible that this bacteria can just be in the air on its own or something and you just catch it like that without any contact?
Somebody would have released this into the air. It has to come from a host.
Okay.
And either when they cough, when they sneeze, when they laugh, they can expectorate these things. Yes, when they lie, when they sneeze, people that do voice box.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so what do you think is the biggest challenge in combating tuberculosis today?
Poverty.
Oh,
socioeconomic status. Yeah, because tuberculosis was once tagged disease of the poor.
Wow.
Yes, it was once tagged the disease of the poor. India used to be one of the nations with the highest rate of tuberculosis. So it's found where there's overcrowding, where the people there are living with low socioeconomic status, where there are poverty everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't access good nutrition. They're not eating well. So the body is defenseless.
Oh.
So it puts a lot of pressure on the body. So anything can come in. Tuberculosis loves where the immune system is low.
And it also makes it difficult to actually, fight the disease. Wow.
Yes. And there are two stages. There's the infectious stage and there's the disease stage. The infectious stage, the person inhales this bacterium. It goes to the lungs. It hibernates there. It doesn't show symptoms.
Okay.
Someone can carry for years without symptoms.
Wow.
You understand? Then some people, once they get it goes to TB disease. That's when they experience all the symptoms and signs and everything. So if someone is already having the TB infection, which is in the lungs, and maybe the person is infected with HIV, which further reduces the immune system.
Yeah.
So the person can easily, it would metamorphose from that infectious state to the active TB, causing the infection, causing the disease.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Okay, it's time for us to know our faith. So over to you, Amaka. Hi Saints, welcome to this episode of Know Your Faith. I am Elefachi. When you hear fallen angels, what comes to mind? On this episode, we'll be talking about the fallen angels and why they are called so. Fallen angels are angels who rebelled against God's authority and were cast out of heaven. Now, this was how it started. Lucifer, also known as Satan, was a beautiful and powerful angel created by God. He became prideful and arrogant, believing he was equal to God. Can you imagine that? Lucifer convinced a third of the angels in heaven to join him in his rebellion against God. Okay. However, God, being all-knowing and all-powerful, was not pleased with their disobedience. He cast Lucifer and the rebellious angels out of heaven, and they fell to earth. This fall from grace was seen as a punishment, and the fallen angels were stripped of their divine status and privileges, but they still retained their powers. They became known as demons or unclean spirits with only one motive: to tempt humans away from God's path. Can you imagine that? 4 reasons they are called fallen angels. Number 1, they rebelled against God. Number 2, they became sinful and corrupt. Number 3, they were cast out of heaven because of their rebellion. And finally, they were separated from God's love and presence. St. Paul mentions something interesting in his letter to the Ephesians. He says that we wrestle against principalities and powers. He's referring to these fallen angels, some of whom are principalities and powers. So yes, there are good and bad principalities and powers, and Lucifer himself was a seraph. If you don't want to be cut out from God's presence like Lucifer, better be humble. It's the only way to overpower the fallen angels and be admitted into God's presence. And that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, be bold, be Catholic. Thank you very much, Amaka, for that amazing session. Okay, so back to the conversation. You mentioned something about it being transmissible from one host to the other. So I just want to clarify, how long can that bacteria survive without being passed down? Let's say if I cough here now today and somebody comes here in the next 5 minutes, 1 hour, 24 hours, can the person get it? Like, what's that time frame for the bacteria to be alive?
Oh, you can't really peg it as at a particular time frame.
Okay.
But it depends on the time where you expose it to sunlight, expose it to the ventilation. These are the things that can kill it easily. If, for instance, this place is well ventilated, well, the sunlight is obvious here, it won't spend, it's a matter of minutes. It's gone. It's where it's in a secluded place.
That's why you talked about overcrowding and all.
Or maybe a place that is calm, cool, no
heat.
harsh environment to the TB or microorganisms. It can last as far as it can if it is not destroyed.
Okay, so quickly, can you just run me through the stages of TB? Because I know that it's not just when you get it that, yeah. So just quickly run me through the stages.
Okay, we have 2 stages of TB. I think I highlighted it earlier on. The stage, the first stage is called the infectious
stage, and then
the other stage, that is the TB disease stage.
Okay.
The infectious stage, the person has it, but the person has not manifested any symptoms or signs. It's within the
How long does this take?
It can take years. It can take more than 2 years. It can take over number of years, depending on the person's immune status, depending on what the person is, how the person's
and then
lifestyle
the disease
is.
stage.
And the disease stage,
where it's
when
full
it comes, it's full blown. The person gets it. The person manifests the symptoms of chest pain, cough, and the rest.
All right. So you said it's possible to cure TB if it's detected early enough.
Yes.
Can a person who is cured of TB get it again?
Yes.
Wow.
Yes. Especially if there is multi-drug resistant. If the person was infected, yes, with multi-drug resistant, or the person's, the person can get, or he wasn't well treated. It comes back again.
Okay, so finally, tomorrow is World Tuberculosis Day. How can we join to create awareness about this disease?
Since we are in a more media-oriented society now, we can always post on whatever platforms that we are. You can bring people awareness about overcrowding, about TB, how it's transmitted. You can just post it, and you can also do a street-to-street campaign. You know, I'll see people, speak to them in groups, in person. You know, create their awareness. You know, from one person to another, things move on, and you know, before you know it,
the world will be a better place.
Yes.
All right. I think my highlight is the fact that it's curable if you're able to detect it early, which means that people need to take constant medical checkups seriously.
Yes,
right?
Especially if they have a cough that is more than 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And you notice, and you also notice yes, coughing out blood at the same time. That is a red flag.
Okay. Thank you so much. It's been lovely speaking with you. Very enlightening, I must say. My saints, you've heard it all. So if you suspect any form of, disease, TB, whatever it is, that cough, please try as much as possible to check it out and ensure that you do that quickly so that it doesn't degenerate into something else. It's been amazing talking to you, Doctor. And yeah, remember, if you have any comments, if you have any questions, do well to drop them in the comment section of our YouTube channel, or you could also check out Cosmet Consultation online and you might just get the help that you need. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel at Dominican Media, and we're also on social media at CFF on TV. Until next time, guys, I am Marianne. Keep being saints in jeans and shirts. Bye.